At the beginning of the film, at the birthday party for her nephew, a girl named Alex learns that her beloved mother is dying. Talking frankly with her daughter after the party, the mother, the owner of a huge cosmetics company, expresses concern about the life of her favorite. The mother doesn't like the fact that Alex has given up the dreams of her youth. Now, she works for her mother's company and is dating a silly guy named Finn, whose greatest dignity is his impressive size of a reproductive organ. Upon learning that her mother's cancer has metastasized again, the daughter becomes desperate. A couple of months later, the woman dies, and the relatives, the two sons, their wives, and Alex herself, gather at the lawyer's office. Strangely, they are called not by Mr. Sullivan, the family lawyer, but by some junior partner, Brad Ackerman, appointed executor of the will. He immediately causes distrust of Alex. It seems to her that the guy is too young and not professional. But the real shock for the girl becomes the last will of her mother. The most part of the company and the post of general director goes to the daughter-in-law of the deceased, Catherine. Alex has to be satisfied with the promise to receive her inheritance later. Alone with the lawyer, the girl lets out all her anger. But he nonchalantly hands her an envelope with a disc, which she must open without witnesses. In it, Alex discovers a worn sheet of paper, which she herself at the age of 13 wrote a wish list. The list is quite impressive, from reading a difficult book to reconciliation with her father and meeting her true love. On the first disc, her mother has recorded a video message for her daughter, in which she claims that Alex has given up her dreams in favor of everyday life. From now on, Alex will receive a new disc for every completed item on her old list, and at the end of this marathon, she will receive an inheritance. The deadline is before the next new year. The girl is at a loss. Friends and relatives advise her not to give up and take up the fight. Her sister-in-law, Zoe, tells her about a test for true love once received from her wise mother-in-law. Alex tries to answer the test questions, and it turns out that Finn is clearly not the one. In the end, they quarrel and break up. In a lawyer's office, a girl agrees to fulfill her deceased mother's will. However, it turns out badly. The piano is not conquerable, there are no teacher vacancies, and the book is too boring. After thinking about it, Alex decides to start with stand-up. Brad comes to the performance and brings the next disc. The recording of another monologue of her deceased mum makes her nostalgic. After the stand-up, they walk and chat about their phobias, which Alex has to get rid of. This, of course, is the reconciliation item with her father on her list. Brad says he's afraid to ask his boss for a promotion too. And at the same time, he offers her a job at a school for children in difficult situations. In April, the girl goes to that school and meets a young and handsome director of this educational institution in the metro, as it turns out later. Of course, on this way she faces difficulties with stubborn high school students, but at last she feels herself in her place. Ezra, an unhappy teenager who has been orphaned, is particularly annoying. After another month, Alex decides to meet her father, who left the family when she was a teenager. Her relationship with him had never really worked out. Over dinner, it comes to mutual accusations again. The shocked girl learns that her father is not her own. It turns out that her mother cheated on her husband with a singer named Johnny Alvarez and got pregnant by him. Now, Alex set about the idea of finding her biological father. At the next meeting with the lawyer, the girl asks if he knew about the story. Brad denies it. Together, they pick out a tie for him and discuss how she can find her father. The lawyer offers her his help. In another video, the mum confesses that it was very difficult for her to tell her daughter about her mistake. Next, according to the plan, Alex has a piano while a detective of Bread is looking for her father. She visits her deceased mum's friend, a music teacher, and takes lessons from her. The difficulties at school continue, but a handsome headmaster named Gareth asks her out on a date to a charity society gala. At the event, she meets Brad and his girlfriend, the beautiful Nina. While Alex chats with the famous basketball player, Gareth and Brad, who turn out to know each other, chat about her. After the event, the principal and his new subordinate begin dating. In June, the brothers note that sister just blossomed. True, she still hasn't found the biological father, and the actual father is very worried about her. But the girl sits back, and new ticks fill up the list. At the performance at the music school, the Moonlight Sonata is played brilliantly. At a charity fair at the school, the next point is fulfilled. A match is played with the very same basketball player from the big league, and the driving school has acquired a diligent student in the person of the restless Alex. But it's not so simple about true love. Is Gareth the man she wants to live her whole life with? At meetings with Brad, the girl frankly tells him about her doubts, and he advises her to talk to her boyfriend. So she does, complaining to him about the fact that he is in no hurry to get close to her, never even comes to her house, and Gareth takes the criticism adequately. That same evening, it is reported that her biological father has been found in Vermont. Meanwhile, Alex's family and close friends gather at a small party at her house. The boyfriend is not particularly pleased with this evening, because this society seems to him simple and boring. He makes claims to the girl about her list, because the girl hasn't ticked off the item, find true love. Perhaps she's only with him for the inheritance. Alex is shocked by this turn of events. They quarrel, and Gareth leaves. But who's going to take her to Vermont now? Taxis are expensive. Does she have to take the bus? Brad, as always, comes to the rescue. Together with his girlfriend Nina, he takes his troubled client to meet her father. On the way, the whole company fools around and sings funny songs. Only Nina doesn't particularly like the relationship between her boyfriend and his pretty client. Finally, the merry group reaches the place, check into the local hotel, and go to their rooms. Suddenly, Brad arrives and tells them that Nina has been called back to New York for work and is in the evening flight out. Late that night, Alex and Brad arrive at a bar where her biological father is performing with a musical group. She looks at the man with mixed feelings. Will they be able to become close? Finally, they manage to talk a little between performances, and after the newfound father and daughter agree to meet the next morning. As a farewell, her father sings a touching song for her, which he says he wrote the day she was born. However, much remains unclear. Why didn't her father seek her out for so many years? Alex is utterly fascinated by the man. This is the real reason for Mum to organize this quest. To find her real father, of course. Back at the hotel, the friends go for another drink at the lobby bar and return to their rooms completely drunk. Their rooms are next to each other, and both can't sleep. The evening leads smoothly to a hot night full of passion, and the guys realize that they feel very good together. In the morning, they're both terribly embarrassed, and the appointment with their father didn't take place, because he simply didn't come. Alex is very upset, but tries not to show it. The way back passes in a heavy silence. Back home, the girl realizes that her hopes have been deceived, because the man in whom she wanted to find a soulmate is a complete stranger to her, and so he will remain. In the car, Brad tells her that Nina went back not because of work, but out of jealousy for Alex. They broke up. And the guy also says that Gareth is no match for her. The girl resents the unsolicited advice and calls their affair a mistake. However, meeting again with Gareth, she realizes that Brad was right, because they are completely unsuitable for each other. So that relationship is over too. What next? At a meeting with her brothers, who have organized a full moon camping trip, that's another item on her list, Alex learns a lot about the relationships in her own family. It turns out her real father isn't the one who conceived and abandoned her, but the one who raised her. How blind she was. Together they all watch her mum's videos, wiping away tears. Time flies fast, and Christmas is fast approaching. However, not everything was possible to implement. One tick on the list is still missing. But an elderly lawyer, Mr. Sullivan, senior partner of the law firm handling the inheritance case, greets the heiress with a smile. Brad has been sent away somewhere, and Mr. Sullivan himself hands her a cherished red envelope. Alex opens the papers with bated breath. Her mum has bequeathed her her house in a trust fund to cover inheritance taxes and the costs of maintaining the house while it was empty for almost a year. Now the girl is a full-fledged mistress in the family house, and it makes her very happy. There is one last disc of her mother's monologues. She says goodbye to her daughter and brings her to tears. One last motherly admonition to the flighty daughter that true love is worth fighting for. And hell yes, she will fight. In a car only recently licensed, Alex drives to Brad's house. Mr. Sullivan had mentioned the day before that he had recently been made a full partner in the company after all. In a feverishly tense state, the girl tries to remember the very 4 points of the test about true love and crashes into his car in the car park. Brad comes out to see what's wrong and sees a beautiful offender. Alex asks him to let her into the house, but the guy refuses to do it because she has rejected his feelings. In desperation, the girl starts listing test questions for him. Is Brad kind? Yes, definitely. Can she tell him anything? Yes, because all she's been doing since the beginning is burdening him with her problems, and he endures it all. Does he help her to develop and improve? And who else, but he, convinced her to embark on this crazy quest invented by her mum? And for good reason. Finally, there was one last item left, which he didn't need to know about yet, but Alex was completely sure of the answer. Undoubtedly, he will be a marvelous father to their common children. The lovers are happily reunited. That's how this amazing story, which began as a tragic tale with a lawsuit about inheritance, ends on a happy and romantic note. In Alex's house, they celebrate the new year. Everyone close to her is here today. Family and friends. Each of them helped her find herself and fulfill her dreams, no matter what. And at that moment, the film ends. Thank you all for watching this video until the very end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this film. And see you in the next videos.